This rope looks strong, and it must be, because in less than 90 seconds, a man dangles from the end of it, pitting his extraordinary skill against a stopwatch in a daring race against time. Okay, fellas, take it away. Gentlemen.
Here's the straitjacket, Art. This is used in institutions to restrain the most dangerous inmates.
Well, it certainly looks escape-proof. Lieutenant, will you gentlemen put this straitjacket on Irby? Now, don't be delicate. Pull the straps just as tight as you can and interlock the arms. That's not done by anyone else. Make it almost impossible to escape if you can. My friends, Irby is the top escapologist of our time. Now, he has duplicated almost every feat that the immortal Houdini did. And right now on the pier at Santa Monica, California, he's about to attempt the most dangerous escape of all time. The request comes from John Sobinovich of the Bronx, New York. And he wrote, recently I read a magazine article describing a new escape that Houdini himself did not try. The idea is to hang suspended by a burning rope over water and escape from a straitjacket before the rope can burn in two. It's strictly a question. Can the man make his escape from the jacket before the burning rope breaks and drops him into the water? Is there anyone who can make an escape like this? Well, John, those lifeguards are doing everything possible to see those straps are the tightest.
Ready, Art. Notice the arms are interlocked. Examine the straps at the back.
Well, they certainly check. I'd say that you're in that straitjacket to stay. Okay, swing the boom over here, please. Now, in that straitjacket, Irby will be suspended upside down. Above him, here's a piece of burlap saturated in gasoline, which will be ignited. It's up to Irby to escape from that before the rope burns through. Now, in case anything goes wrong, we have lifeguards on the pier and some more in a launch to go to his rescue. Guards, light the rope. Ready, Irby?
I'm ready, Mr. Burgess.
All right, take him up slowly. Seconds have passed since that rope was lighted. As you can see, Irby's already started his struggle for release as he's being swung out high over the Pacific. "50 seconds. Seems to be working first on the arms. The emergency boat stands by below. Let me assure you, my friends, there are no tricks, there are no gimmicks in this feat. There's 1 minute. He brought the arms down over his head. Now he reaches up to loosen the bottom buckle at the back. "1 minute, 20 seconds. That rope can't last much longer. And he's free, but he still has to free his feet. Lower him to the deck, fast. Well, Mr. Sabunovich, the answer to your request was indeed thrilling. In true Houdini fashion, Herbie came through. A master escape artist. You asked for it.
A helicopter like this one I'm riding in, and a straitjacket like this regulation police restraining jacket. And the stage is set for suspense, for no life insurance company will issue a policy to the man who answers this request. Now, Vinton Moore of Elm Grove, West Virginia writes, I'm asking to see a man escape from a straitjacket while dangling head downward under a hovering helicopter hundreds of feet in the air. This hazardous act brings gasps from any crowd, particularly when the performer makes a parachute jump from a high-flying copter after completing his sensational sky escape. Well, Mr. Moore, your undivided attention, if you please. For the man asked for is Ralph Wiggins, who makes his living risking his life. Right now, he's about to be shackled upside down under a helicopter. And from there on, well, it's thrills all the way, as you'll see. Now, these ankle straps are all that stand between Ralph Wiggins and a fatal fall. If these straps should slip or break, if anything should go wrong, the slightest mishap would mean certain death. Well, there's the signal. The pilot flips the switch, and the giant rotor blade begins to spin. Ralph Wiggins embarks on his journey skyward. Up, up, up to over 1,000 feet in the air, dangling under the copter and displaying a daring disregard for danger. From the very moment he left the ground, Wiggins has been twisting, twirling, fighting to fight free himself. The blood rushes swiftly to the head when a person is suspended upside down. Ralph must escape as quickly as possible. As he fights for freedom, the copter continues its climb. You find yourself tightening with tenseness as you watch him struggle, oblivious to the 1,000-foot drop to terra firma. The arms are uncrossed, but the hands are still enclosed inside the jacket. The buckle's difficult to work. Wiggins' nimble finger worked frantically through the canvas. He's free and drops the jacket, and there it goes. Now the hand-over-hand pull up to the bar attached to the parachute. Off with the ankle straps. Right leg. Now the left. The helicopter swings back over Hank Coffin's airport as Ralph prepares to jump. There's the signal. Geronimo! Wiggins sails earthward, sitting on the bar just as easily as you're sitting in your favorite chair at home. Now watch this precision pinpoint spot landing. Standing up. Well, Vinton Moore, you asked for it.
With his knife, a man attempts to escape from a watery grave. Yes, a request and a challenge. That's what brought us here to this famous townhouse at their swimming pool. Usually a scene of gaiety and laughter, but right now it's a rather grim setting for a colossal struggle. James Kildare looks at us at WNAC TV in Boston, wrote this. He said, some weeks ago, you featured a man who was tied with ropes by an Indian, yet managed to free himself from the famous Indian rope torture. I believe he's the same Carl Eddington who also does underwater escapes. If this is so, I'm asking to see him risk his life below the surface. All right, yes, Mr. Kildare, you're right. Carl Eddington is your man, and for you, he will attempt the underwater escape, knife escape. Now, I understand that your wrists will be chained, and then your ankles also, and both of them locked.
That's right, Art. And then, as you can see in this drawing here, a rope is tied around my leg, drawn through this pulley on a sandbag at the bottom of the pool. This pulls me down and keeps me under.
And what you must do, of course, is to free your hands in some way with the chains around it so that you may get at this knife, which will be strapped to your back before you're out of breath,
Exactly, Art. If I don't cut that rope in about 45 seconds, I'm going to be in trouble.
All right, here's your knife. May you use it skillfully and quickly. We'll take a picture with our camera under the window there, under the surface there, so we can get a close-up on your struggles. So good luck to you.
Thanks, Art. I'll need it.
All right, and to you, Mr. Kildare, out there, keep your fingers crossed. A man attempts to escape from a watery grave now because you asked for it. These are not play chains nor toys. It's rather a wicked chain. It'll be drawn tight with a ring and then padlock. Now that chain will be wrapped around his waist. Crossed in front. Now tightly around the ankles. This is all one piece of chain, as you see. And drawn through and padlock. This is the rope that goes through the pulley. On the bottom of the pool, 12 feet. It will draw him down to that sandbag at the bottom and hold him there until he can cut himself loose. Here he goes. He's down, the rope is tightened, brings him over, and there he will be held until he can escape. First the wrists. He finds that impossible, I'm afraid. And the seconds go by. And the lungs are torturous because of the strenuous exercise as well as holding the breath. Once more at the wrists. No, perhaps he's going to try the ankles first. Yes, and one leg free. And the seconds are ticking on. It's over 40 seconds now. Now from there to the wrists. He's loosening it. Approaching almost a minute's time. Get rid of the chains. Reach around. Now for the knife. And to cut the rope. And to the surface. And I bet that lunge right there. Hey, Carl, that was really a thing there, brother. You all right, huh?
I think the warm shower won't help.
We won't keep you from that warm shower. That was colossal action there, believe me. One word of warning, please, to everybody, young people in particular. Do not attempt that in any way. That's dangerous. Takes years and years of training. And to you, Mr. Kildare, we had accomplished our mission. Our sheet time's up. So on behalf of Skippy, America's largest selling peanut butter, I'll say so long. See you next week. Howdy, folks, and here we are again to take our cue from you, delivering what you ask for on television. As I've said before, I don't care who it is, what it is, or where it is. If it's on this planet and you ask for it, we're going to see that you see it. Right now, in answer to request number 1, a man faces death in a watery grave because Jack O. Leverance of Los Angeles, California, asked for it. His letter said, "Dear Baker, my dad tells me that about 30 years ago, he saw Houdini, the great escape artist, get out of a locked milk can that was filled with milk. It was done on a stage with only a front screen covering the milk can. And Houdini got out in about a minute and a half. If there is anyone living who can duplicate that feat, I would like to see him perform on your show. Sincerely, Jack O. Leverance. Well, yes, Mr. Leverance, there is someone living today who can duplicate the feats of the famous Houdini. He is Leo Irby, a man Mrs. Houdini said is the rightful heir to his crown of greatness. In a moment, Irby will attempt the most dangerous and daring of the Houdini feats. That is the famous milk can escape. Right now, here he is, Irby, master of danger, because you asked for it. Mr. Irby, you, of course, are cognizant of the danger of this feat.
I am.
Now, very seldom is an audience invited to inspect some of the device. This can I would like to see, can we?
For you to examine. This can is about 50 years old. The top is solid. It has 4 large hasps riveted to the outside. It's impossible to get to the hasps or to the locks on account of this rim. Some think this can is tricked. They think if you bend it this way or twist it this way, it'll become apart. That is not so. It is absolutely solid. I want you to notice, if you can see inside, it'll be the first time the public has ever had a chance to see inside. You can see the seams are all soldered. They must be for it to hold milk. Solid, reinforced with steel bands. Solid. The bottom is solid, reinforced with steel strips.
I would say that looks terribly escape-proof to me, Mr. Irby. Gentlemen, will you start filling it with milk, please? What's the capacity of the can?
That can holds 60 gallons of milk.
And so, therefore, when you're submerged in it, you will be entirely submerged, head and all.
When I go under, the milk will run over the top.
Now, you have to work fast because you're holding your breath in there.
I have to work very fast.
What is the lid secured with?
The lids are secured. They're secured with 2 or 4 mounted padlocks. Here are 2 padlocks that came off the Nevada State Prison. Here are 2 padlocks that came from Germany. This one came from a German ship. These are dead padlocks, what we call dead padlocks, that you must use the key to lock them and unlock them.
They are wicked-looking locks to me, believe me.
Furthermore, I'm going to use handcuffs.
Houdini never used handcuffs in his escape.
I am the only man in the world that ever attempted this effect while completely sealed in a can of milk.
Do I get the key to keep?
You keep the keys, you keep the handcuffs till I call for them.
Very well. I see the gentlemen have filled it there. Shall we go back?
We'll go back. I will now go under so they can see that the can is completely filled with milk.
Yes, I have proof of that right here. Now.
I am now ready for the handcuffs. I am now ready.
Now, Mr. Irby, so that we understand completely here, from our standpoint, as proof that no accomplice can come from the sides or from the back, we have you enclosed on 3 sides here with this screen wall. Now, from your standpoint, I understand this secret has been 50 years unrevealed.
That's correct.
And we are not going to see any more than they saw Houdini on the stage, how you escape. We will hope for your escape. Is that right?
That's right.
All right, now we will set, I don't know, how long do you think it'll take you to escape if you're
I'll
successful?
try to make it in about a minute.
About a minute. Now, gentlemen, you are ready. You are ready, sir?
I'm ready.
Mr. Leverance, stand by. Starts the clock. There are the 4 padlocks. It has taken 15 seconds so far. He has been submerged. And now it's a question of how he escapes. 26 seconds have been taken. There'll be no accomplice, of course. They'll come in the sides or the back to aid him. 35 seconds have gone by. 37, 38, 40. He said about a minute, didn't he? 45 seconds, 3/4 of a minute have gone. They're standing by with fire axes there in case, of course, something happens. He'll be chopped out. There is 55 seconds. 57. He's getting close to the minute. Hey, gentlemen, be ready with your axes there. There's the minute he spoke of. 2, 3, a minute and 5. Do you suppose we should... A minute and 8, a minute and 10.
Thank you, Mr. Baker.
Herbie, I see that was a thrilling moment, believe me, right there, and I am so glad it was successful. That was indeed a thrilling escape. I would like, however, right now to look at the milk can, may I?
You may. Notice the lid is still on solid, the locks are still locked, and the milk is still inside.
Yes, I'll say it is. Well, sir, that was, as I say, a most thrilling moment there, and I see why you wear the mantle of the great Houdini and are called the Master of Danger. Congratulations. We're proud to have you on our
Mr.
show.
Baker.
Mr. Leverance, you certainly gave us a lot of thrills because you asked for it.
You asked for it, so here's Mr. Bobby Knapp, for years a top star in aqua shows. Now, according to this letter I have from Arthur Ross of Queens, Long Island, Bobby Knapp has been working on a most dangerous stunt, one that hasn't been done since the days of the great Houdini. Now, for props, there are just 3. First, this burlap bag. Secondly, this non-stretchable piece of rope. I'll explain about that a little later. And lastly, this 30-pound piece of hard rock granite. Now, there are absolutely no gimmicks to this. There are no zippers in the bag, no spring releases. In fact, I'm going to explain it as we go along. Well, how about you? You all set, Bobby?
All set.
Oh, I'd like you to meet lifeguard Ray Mullane, who's volunteered to help us. Well, now, here's Houdini's sack escape and how it works. Ray, you go ahead. We'll get the rock, first of all, on the bottom of the burlap bag. This is to keep Bobby down in the bottom of the pool. After all, he isn't the heaviest fellow in the world, and in order to keep him on the bottom, why, we have to put that 30-pound rock in there. Now, while Bobby's getting in the bag, let me explain a little more about this burlap bag. As most of you know, they're porous, which means that once Bobby's down on the bottom, the water is going to rush into the bag. And Bobby tells me it's just as well, because rather than have the pressure from the outside of the bag working on him, he'd rather have that bag fully soaked. Bobby, get yourself a good bit of breath inside there now, and we'll start him down inside this. Before Ray ties the non-stretchable piece of rope that I told you I'd tell you about, let me explain about this. Right inside this piece of rope, as you can see, is a piece of steel cable. This means there's absolutely no chance of any give in that rope. All right, Ray, go ahead and start those knots, would you? Now, if there's one word that would sort of sum up the secret of this particular stunt, I think it could be the word manipulation. Because when Bobby goes down to the bottom of that pool with just so much air in his lungs, he's going to have to use that word, that one manipulation word, to get himself out of that. Oh, I might remind you of one other thing. Don't any of you try this particular stunt. It's a very difficult stunt, and I don't want you to even try it on dry land. Bobby, can you hear me?
Yes, Jack.
All right. I want you to go down, but don't stay down any longer than a minute and a half. If you do, I'm going to send Ray down for you. You all set, Ray?
I am, yes.
Let's find out if our underwater cameraman, Don Henderson's all set. Don? All right, here's Bobby Knapp with Houdini's sack escape. Go, Bobby. Arthur Ross, imagine that you were in that sack. Held down by that rock, smothered in burlap, trapped below. Your hands manipulate those ropes fast. Sure, if you're a magician, you know Houdini's secret, but every underwater escape has its dangers. That's why we have a lifeguard. 20 seconds. Just one thought. Don't panic. The wet burlap clings to your body, makes each movement tremendously difficult. Now 30 seconds. You're free of the sack. One final burst of energy. That's it. Good job, Bobby, in just 37 seconds, too. Well, there you are, Arthur Ross. Houdini's sack escape. You asked for it.
Ladies and gentlemen, this man at my side here may risk his life because you asked for it. This is a spot, frankly, that kind of fills me with a little bit of terror. I was inclined to kind of pad time and put it off as long as possible. I'll introduce him in a moment to you. I'd like you to hear the request that came in from Joe Ward of Washington, D.C. He said, "Dear Art Baker, my request, if possible, is to see a man do an underwater escape like the great Harry Houdini used to do." Signed, Joe Ward. And so, to answer this request, we have one of the greatest in the world escape artists. The one about whom Mrs. Houdini said he's the only man skilled enough to follow in the footsteps of my illustrious husband. I want you to greet Leo Irby. Mr. Irby. I don't want to go overboard, but this is something that does fill me with fear and trepidation. Because this, I was watching as your assistants put this on, and this is called an Australian criminal restraint belt.
That's right, Mr. Baker.
This is used in Australia to take the place of and perhaps supersede the straitjackets that we use here. We don't use them in our country, do we?
It's much rougher than a straitjacket.
It looked very rough to me. Can you get a good view here while I show you? This cuts into the arms, these links. There is the forearm here. Up here is the wrist of this one. Here is the forearm down there. I couldn't possibly get a finger in. And here is the wrist. This is locked over here with a padlock, and I have examined these padlocks. They are not trick padlocks, my friends. And so you have a constraint here where there is no chance for any movement except just of the shoulders. The arms are in there. Now, here is what we're attempting to do tonight. You are attempting to escape from this not only here, but underwater.
That's right, Mr. Baker. It's the first time it's ever been attempted underwater.
And I mean the first time. I hope it works, too. I mean the first time because there's never even been a rehearsal on this afternoon or yesterday or any other time. And so for that reason, I feel a bit of responsibility. How long do you figure that it'll take you?
I figure I can make it in about 30 seconds. I'm going to make it as fast as I possibly can.
We should have every precaution, and we shall take that. We have two expert swimmers here. They are swimming instructors from the Los Angeles Athletic Club. Gentlemen, this is an important thing. I will time this 30 seconds with my watch. Of course, if anything should happen before that, you gentlemen immediately will dive down and rescue. All right? Are you ready? Gentlemen, on your toes. Mr. Irby, jump when ready. The pool is about 10 feet deep. Come to the top. One arm is free. Both arms are free. It is only 11 seconds, 13, 15, 17 seconds. The belt is off entirely. Coming toward us, 20 seconds, 22, 24, 26 seconds, 27, 8, 29, 30, 31 seconds. Mr. Irby, quite naturally, we are happy that this turned out successful.
I'm glad so, too.
You have here, my friends, one of the great artists, a worthy successor to the great Harry Houdini. Thank you again, sir.
Thank you.
It was nice. And also thank you, Joe Ward, letter writer from Washington, D.C., because you asked for it. All right, we await your orders now for next week. It may take a week or two to get to your requests, but we'd like to look them over immediately and see what you want, the unusual and the odd, anything that comes to your mind. There may be something that you saw perhaps a year ago, year and a half ago, that you'd like repeated. I've often seen a thing, and I wonder if I could see that once more. All right, that's what we're here for. You asked for it, and we take it from there. And so now, on behalf of our sponsors, Skippy Peanut Butter, the world's largest selling peanut butter, it's time to say so long, and we'll see you next week. This is not a tea party. I don't want the scene to fool you here. This is a very important conference to decide some very vicious action. Which one of you would it be?
Kimura-san.
Isawa-san.
Sniffen-san.
Fergus-san.
It's you. Yes. This is to decide some action that will take place in just a moment. Gentlemen, will you pardon me if I leave? Young Perry White, nice-looking young man who sees us over KGMB-TV in Honolulu, asked for this. He writes, "Dear Art, in olden days in the Orient, they must have had some time with quarterstaff poles. I read that they not only used them to duel with, but as a means of subduing prisoners. Now, these staffs were placed across the prisoner's neck, and they would be tightened at both ends if he tried to escape. And they tell me one of the few men ever to learn how to free himself from such poles is a Walter Burgo here in Hawaii. Now, I'm sure that everyone back in the States would be amazed to see him get out of such strangleholds. Well, you asked for it, Perry. And so right here in Hollywood is Walter Burgo of Hawaii. He's famous judo instructor and wearer of judo's highest award, the black belt. Gentlemen, the quarterstaffs, please. This is no illusion, Perry. This is a skill and courage and training. Now, they place these across the neck and tighten them. He'll attempt to escape while being held prisoner with these 6'1". Watch how he does it. And he's out. Now, in ancient times, a prisoner was often knocked to the ground. And then he was pinned with a staff across his throat, another one across his ankle. Each end of the poles are pressed to the mat to create terrific pressure on the neck and ankles like a bow. To escape from this, watch. Now, for the most violent prisoner trying to escape, 4 staffs are used to subdue him. Tightening of the 4 ends of the 2 sets of poles sometimes causes temporary unconsciousness. It's a terrific strain on the nerves, the muscles of the neck. Now, with these 4 staffs being tightened, let's see if Mr. Burgo can free himself from this. Watch him. Rough and tough, believe me. What do you do in training for this?
It takes time, experience, and courage, Mr.
Time, experience, and courage. Believe me, and I know that. I want to thank you so much for coming here to our land in Hollywood and your 4 assistants for answering this request. Gentlemen, thank you. And to you, Perry White, over there in Honolulu, we can see why Hawaii is so proud of her judo expert there, because you asked for it. Now we're waiting for your commands. What is it you'd like to see? You know?
And here's the man from Landing, New Jersey, who's going to perform what I think is a mighty exciting event. His name is Bill Golly. I know you'll want to fill the audience in on what's going to happen here in just a moment.
Well, David Shugdenus from Middleburg, Connecticut, wrote us this interesting letter. He says, some time ago at the big water show at the Iowa State Fair at Des Moines, they presented a famous long-distance swimmer named Bill Golly, who escaped from a regulation straitjacket after he voluntarily jumped in the water. Since your fans seem to like these kind of thrills, I'm asking you to present this feature on your show. There's our man, Bill Golly, smiling, confident. Nothing to it at all if you know how. And the straitjacket goes on. Regulation in every way, as we told you. No gimmicks, no magic here. Extremely difficult to escape under any condition, but in deep water, well, Bill Golly's willing. Just give him time, he'll show us how it's done. First buckle secured. We're permitted to check every move. Now the second. Art Van Horn has been instructed to pull those straps, all 3 of them, as tightly as possible. That's the way Bill Golly wants it. Make it tough. He'll do the rest. Third strap now. Tighter than ever. Cameraman's all set to go under. Now the arms are crossed. The straps will be buckled behind his back. A final tug, and they're secured. The latest thing in swimsuits, Bill Golly style. He gets the nod and steps right to the pool. There goes our cameraman, complete with compressed air tank. He'll film everything below. Other cameras are topside. Almost ready to take the plunge, but there's still one more step. The ankles tied, more restrictions. So now he'll be bound from head to foot. That pool is beginning to look mighty deep, but Bill Golly's about ready to go. Art Van Horn, you're on the spot, so take over, please.
All right, Bill, are you all ready? Let her go. Dive. The cameras are on you. The sound is on. Bill Golly, in straitjacket, dives into 8 feet of water. There he goes. Right down to the bottom in 8 feet of water is Bill Golly working at that straitjacket. There you can see him coming to the surface, wiggling and trying to escape. There are only 2 ways that he can possibly escape from that straitjacket. Either by getting the arms up over his head, as you know, they're laced in back of him, or else slipping his feet up through that way. One of 2 ways. There is a big danger that in trying to slip the arms up over the back of him, the sleeves will catch in the buckles. Little buckle. You saw me check those buckles. Now, there's no other way that he can get out of that jacket. You saw me check him over. There are no razors buried in it. He can't possibly untie it with his teeth. No, this is a fight for life in the water with a man who is a tough spot indeed. He must get out of that straitjacket within the next couple of minutes or he's going to be a goner. It looks like the sleeve is caught on the buckle in the back, and that means trouble. The sleeve is caught on the back of the buckle. In his back. There's no way he can reach around. He's still committed. He's got to bring that arm up over his shoulder to possibly loosen it. He's struggling and trying to get that arm up over his shoulder. It's coming. I believe he's going to make it. A man can't struggle like this and stay very long in the water. It looks like Bill is getting pretty tired. Still kicking with his feet to give him a little traction in the water. He still hasn't been able to bring that one arm over the top to free himself. Bill, do you need help? He needs help. He needs help. Muggsy, go to his rescue. That's it. Jump in and help. The lifeguards are reaching down to help pull Bill Golly out. This is the one time that he has failed. And he is a mighty tired and pooped man, and pooped is the only word for it. And here's Bill Golly safe at the side of the pool. Bill, could you tell us what happened down there? How is it that you couldn't make this escape when you've made it so many times before?
Well, the thing about that, Art, I don't know how I was the first half minute, but that's about what tells the story. I must have worked too hard that first half minute. I didn't have anything left on the 2-minute mark, and I had 2 big steps to do. I had to get the arms up and over, and I had to do the chase out of the thing.
Bill Golly, was it that sleeve catching on that buckle in back of you that slowed you up? Was that what caused the trouble?
That's
That makes you work too hard?
That could catch or anything else. I think I just worked too hard the first half minute. I think that was my trouble.
What did you think about it? Did you know that Muggsy here would get you out?
Yes, I know he would.
Has he done it before?
Has happened, and it possibly will again. It makes it interesting to me that way, and I hope it makes it interesting to those who are watching.
Well, Bill Golly, it gave us the fright of our life, I'll tell you that. And we would like to see that happen again. That's about it. Now back to you in Hollywood.
Hi there. An ordinary hunting knife, and yet it was used to carry out one of the most hazardous feats ever to be performed on this show. An escape from a watery grave. Now, the request reads, some time ago, I understand you featured Carl Eddington, the escape artist, on your show. If this is so, I'm asking to see him perform his underwater knife escape for those who missed him, and it's signed James Kildare, Kansas City. Yes, Mr. Kildare, Carl Eddington is your man. Now, first, his wrists and ankles were chained and then locked. A rope was tied around one of his legs and ran through the pulley on the sandbag at the bottom. Now, this pulls him under and holds him down. So, to escape, he had to free himself completely from the chain and locks, get his hands on the knife, cut the rope, and then swim to the surface before his breath was gone. Now, the setting for Carl Eddington's underwater adventure, Mr. Kildare, was the famous Sheraton West Hotel here in Los Angeles. We stationed cameras above the surface and in front of the underwater window below the surface to follow the struggle close up. As we watch, let's hear from Carl Eddington himself, just how it feels to fight your way out of a trap like this. Do you remember your reactions, Carl?
Well, I've done rope escapes underwater before and chain escapes on dry land. But I've never attempted a chain escape fully submerged. There's always a certain amount of apprehension for it.
I can well imagine. And the chain around the waist, too.
That's what is called a full-body restraint. Now, the great Houdini considered this the most dangerous type of escape. Even in his underwater trunk escape, he allowed himself some freedom to move around quickly. And, of course, every second uses up more of your oxygen. Time is the most important element.
There sure isn't much freedom being left to you here. Wrists, midsection, and ankles all bound and securely padlocked. There's no trick to this chain or these padlocks, is there?
I'd let anyone inspect it. It's a matter of working the chain loose and slipping out.
Oh, yes, I remember now. This was the rope that goes through the weighted pulley at the bottom of the pool. Say, I forgot what your time was. Let's take it again. Time in, and Carl Eddington, chained as a prisoner, is dragged to the bottom. Now, this is no time to panic. He, above all others, knows this. The trick is as much psychological as it is physical. Get a little nervous, and your whole respiratory system works faster, eating up precious oxygen. So you tell yourself to keep calm, make every exertion count. In this escape, Eddington was more nervous than he should have been. He wasn't accustomed to such cold winter water. Let's see, that's 30 seconds. Now he was beginning to get worried. There's such a thing as a second wind underwater, too, and when you get it, you feel as if you could go on forever. Only his second wind wasn't coming that day. This physical effort uses a lot of oxygen. It isn't the same as just going underwater and holding your breath. 50 seconds. Carl, what was going through your mind?
By this time, I could hardly wait to get my hands on that knife.
I'll bet. 1 minute. The knife. And you're out at exactly 1 minute and 13 seconds. Mr. Kildare, underwater mission accomplished because you asked for it.